Morning on the 14th of March, we have a total lunar eclipse visible from Ireland. We usually get one every 3 to 4 years. This can only happen on a full moon, which means it's completely opposite the sun. So the moon rises as the sun sets and it sets as the moon rises. For an eclipse, we need the sun, the moon and the earth all to perfectly align. Now we know they go around all the time, but they're not always in a perfect straight line as seen from Earth, as the moon and the earth don't always align with the sun, could be a bit higher or a bit lower. But when this does happen and the earth is blocking the sun's light from reaching the moon, it causes a total lunar eclipse because Earth's shadow is now on the moon. And even though the sun is 400 times bigger than the moon, by coincidence it's also 400 times further away. So our planet casts a shadow which turns the moon red for us here on Earth, hence the blood moon. Because they are perfectly aligned, it means they're still aligned for the next couple of weeks. So during the next new moon phase, a solar eclipse, or at least a partial solar eclipse, will happen somewhere on Earth within those 2 weeks, as a solar eclipse can only happen on a new moon phase when the moon blocks out the sun, which is what will happen on March 29th. We get a partial solar eclipse, so March is an exciting month for stargazers like myself and hopefully for some of you. Anyway, this total eclipse of the moon on Friday is close to sunrise, so we won't see it all. As I said earlier, the moon sets as the sun rises. The Earth has an outer shadow, which we call an umbra, which hits the moon first, called a penumbral eclipse. It's hardly noticeable, to be honest, but it begins at 3:57 a.m. until 5:09 a.m. if anyone wants to see it. The actual eclipse begins when the inner shadow from the Earth causes the start of what we call a partial eclipse. This starts as the penumbral phase ends at 5:09 a.m. and continues to move across the moon, making the bite grow bigger or the moon appear smaller as it gets more eclipsed. So the best time to watch is basically from 5:09 to 6:25 a.m. when it hits totality. This is what we call a blood moon phase. As the shadow continues to grow, it hits maximum eclipse at 6:44 a.m., which is the same time as it sets below the horizon here in Ireland as the sun comes up. Now, for anyone who usually photographs moonrise or moonset, you'll know that the moon always appears reddish when it's on the horizon, as we see it through a thicker layer of the atmosphere, which allows red light to get through, but it scatters blue light, which we see as colour, meaning it's already going to be squashed and reddish as it gets closer to the horizon. Add the blue moon eclipse on top of that and it could be something quite spectacular. But also it starts to get bright well before the sun comes up, so it won't be really dark. You'll just have to go out and see for yourself, because I'm not quite sure what to expect. Anyway, if you missed this due to cloud or not having a clear western horizon, like me here in Dublin most likely, there will be another one on the 7th of September, but it's not quite a total one, so it's just called a partial lunar eclipse. The next total one is on New Year's Eve 2028, and then another one on the 26th of June 2029, and yet another on December 20th, 2029. So we have 3 within a year if you can wait that long. I'll do another post on the partial solar eclipse later. Bottom line is,